There's something weird about old games. Every time someone loads up Super Mario 64 or Halo 3, their brain just melts into nostalgia soup. Suddenly the graphics don't look like a bunch of triangles and low-end mud. It's art. It's peak gaming. But let's be honest, if GoldenEye 007 came out today, it would be considered a dumpster fire. People would want to kill themselves. Why would they want to kill themselves? Didn't mean to get political. But people would hate the game. They would say it's awful, the graphics suck, the gameplay is... His hand is a rectangle. So why do people love old games? That's the question, and I have the answer. Because I'm smarter than everyone else that's ever made a video on this. I'm a genius! What's that? It's a subscribe button. How many of you are old? Raise your hand. I can't see you. But back in the day, back in my prime, even before my prime, good graphics simply meant that the character's mouth moved. That was it. If you could even tell that the character had a face, that was considered the good graphic for the time. Back in RuneScape or like Pokemon Red, your brain did half of the rendering itself. That 2-pixel blob, it was a dragon. That NPC sprite, your future wife. You weren't playing a game, you were co-directing a $200 million imagination project is what it was. And now every single game that comes out has ray tracing on everything. You run around the map and it's like, oh cool, I ran and I left footprints in the mud, and that's fantastic, but why doesn't it make me feel like I'm 12 years old, eating cereal at 11 p.m., staying up late, playing a game that my parents probably think I shouldn't be playing because it's not educational and you can't play that and there's some guns in it, and if you start to kill people in the video game, you're gonna kill people in real life. I stab people instead. But be honest, when was the last time a modern game felt real? Not looked real, felt real. And that's exactly the problem. Old games were simple, not easy, just focused. You boot up Tetris and boom, you're playing. No battle pass, no connect to your Ubisoft account, just shapes and existential dread. And now? No, I don't want to update! I want to play the game, I don't want to file my taxes. I haven't filed taxes in a decade anyway. Old games have this beautiful point where they respect your time. You get in and you immediately get the game. You get the whole thing all in one sitting. If you're old enough, if you're a boomer like me, what you would get was something like this. Let me pull it down. I'm gonna knock over all my discs. Halo 3 ODST. Here's the entire game. Can't download anything, it's the whole game. This is it. Everything that you had was on this CD. There was no downloadable extras. Let me get this back up here. There wasn't even waiting for anything to download in the first place. Quite literally, you would pop in the disc and you'd just go. That was the game. You quite literally could pull out anything on a whim. I even remember having times back in my prime. It was so simple. You could take the game even on the road with you. I don't know if any of your parents had minivans with the fold down screen. I don't even know if that's still a thing anymore. It is still a thing. I worked at a car dealership for a bit, and those cars definitely still had screens. But you'd be able to take your Xbox or your Wii, plug it into the car, pop down the screen, put in your disc, and just play the game. It wasn't relying on any internet connection, and you wouldn't have to do a sudden, unexpected update just to be able to continue playing the game. But beyond that, the feel was just something that was so unexplainable. You put it in an old game, and the soundtrack, although simple, sometimes it just hit. Okay, I'm not playing more than like a second and a half of the Halo theme song. You guys know the rest. I just don't want to get demonetized. This channel's not even monetized. But even beyond that, simple games had simple music. I've even streamed multiple times and I use Zelda music as my background because it's just that good. Hey, stop scrolling. Why are you scrolling? This is a video. Hit subscribe. That's it. Something else that has drastically changed are the communities. It's not a community of monetization, commoditizing. The communities are also so different than they were in the past. Communities today are all about money and all about maximizing time and profitability. And I'm not just talking about the companies themselves. I'm talking about the players. People feel the need to go ahead and just live stream everything, to record and film and upload everything. And I'm not against that. In fact, I love the fact that we're sharing games like that, but it almost becomes a TV show. We feel like we have to present this super polished thing and we can't just sit down and play for the fun of it, or at least it's so much harder to. It's one of the reasons that Minecraft, although I talked about it in another video, is such a long-lasting game. It's because you can just sit down and play at any time by yourself. It's one of the few games where you could sit down, load up the game, and you get the entire full experience right there. You don't have to be in a multiplayer online server, even though that's an option. You don't have to have a mod pack, or a data pack, or a resource pack, or ray tracing, or shaders, anything. You don't have to have all that and you could just play. But that was every single game in the past. But now, no matter what level you're playing at, you feel like you're missing out on something. Even Roblox. A big complaint about Roblox is that it's pay to win, and that's a vast majority of games. CSGO is a big old gambling situation for underage people? Can we call them that these days? But beyond that, it felt like the stories that we were creating in our old games were ours. Or the same with any other sandbox building game, which were so much more popular back then. Oh wait, no, you can rip that piece of paper. That one's okay to be ripped. It's my taxes. But even games like Age of Empires, you were creating something that was your own army. And it's just so much different now. Things that may not have been part of the game canon became your own head canon within that universe. And that was so perfect. And when we go back and play those games, we're chasing a feeling that just doesn't exist anymore. We don't have the same opportunities in games nowadays to be able to create our own universe. Even games that were successful in the past, like Pokemon, that are still having games come out today, it feels old and tired at this point, even though they're trying to put out something new for you. And there are positive changes, but it just doesn't make a difference in the way that we're feeling, because we're chasing a feeling that doesn't exist. One of the games that I personally play most often is Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. In fact, I speedrun it and hold a world record. No one else is in the category, but I'm still #1, so I mean, what can you say about that? It's multiplayer. But I've played through the old campaign every once in a while, and it's just different. There's something about it that hits a nerve that just doesn't get hit by games today. In fact, one of the reasons why I don't play a lot of new games is because it feels like a chore. The same reason we talked about beforehand. And I want games to be a release. I don't want to have to feel like I'm going through effort just to hop on in the first place. With old games, you can always upscale them too. You could get the graphics to a newer level that is more accommodating to where we are today. But as much as we can upscale the graphics, we can't upscale the feelings. You know, the short fact of the matter is that old games weren't perfect, but it's what you had. And in the past, we had a fantastic ability to make the most of what we had. To be able to have friends come over and play split screen is just not a thing that's anymore. Yes, we could technically reach more people and play with more friends at the same time than we ever could in the past, and that's awesome and it's wonderful. There's no knock on any new games in terms of the development and the advancements that it's made in getting people included, but it's not going to recreate that same feeling of stacking a bunch of people into a small room with Doritos and Mountain Dew, staying up till 2 in the morning trying to beat the latest Lego Star Wars game in co-op. It just, you don't get that feeling anymore. I'm an old man, but I still have LAN parties here and there, invite people over, and it's because it's a feeling that sometimes, you know, you just wish you had a little more. It's not just a nostalgic feeling for a childhood that is gone. It's not just a feeling for the freedoms that you used to have, but it's a desire and a wish to be able to sit in those moments that seem to last forever, because right now, with so much movement in the world, with so much movement, especially in video games and the way things are progressing, it's hard just to sit down and enjoy what you have. But that's my opinion.